Hey, good morning, everyone. Today is truly Wednesday. I know yesterday I got on and said Wednesday, and I had someone that ran outside, took the trash out because I screwed him up on the days. That may be one of the funnier things that have happened. Good morning, Jake. Good morning, Blaze. Matt, welcome, welcome, everybody. Friday's training is on procrastination. Christina, it's her birthday week. Good morning, Jakey. Share. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, everyone. Friday's training is on procrastination. Hopefully, you caught the playbook and the replays of the training from last week. Seeking approval. We learned a lot together, and we'll learn a lot this Friday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. If we can find Team David Meltzer, pin up there, David at dmeltzer.com. If you didn't get the exercises, the guides, we got the how to pitch guide for the pitch competition. We got Bloomberg's new TV show, 2-minute drill, coming out in January. We're going to start filming in December. If you haven't gone to dmeltzer.com/pitch and joined us, we're good there. Awesome. At Jill Martin is here. The host of Seals and Deals is here. Let me see. We had her on for 8:05, but let's start early. I'm going to pin this up here, and then we'll get Jill. Sorry. I'm still learning how to use this after all these years. All right, where is Jill? Let me find her real quick. At Jill Martin. Blaine said she's here. If you guys haven't checked out NBC's, I do not see her. Jill, if you can go ahead, send me a request one more time. I don't see you here. So Blaine may be. Let's put some questions in as well. I don't see any questions in here. We'll get those going. Thank you so much. How do you believe Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, I don't know what that even means, but politics are personal to people. Everybody has those, and we aggregate them into a United States of America. So everybody voices their opinion, and the majority rules. That's all I know. I don't want to put any personal perspective on that. I want to support everybody to bring them together and heal any separation that may have occurred because of the election. So let's all come together and make this country the best it can be. Not great again or not great again. It doesn't matter either way to me, but let's make it the best we can make it be, all things considered. And I know Jill Martin feels the same way. She is today's show's lifestyle contributor, the $60 million girl at NBC. There she is. I should bring my wife in here.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? I can see you a little bit. There's a question on the screen, right? I'm in the right place.
Yeah, you're in the right place. So
I'll sit up a little bit. I am technologically not savvy, contradictory to what you might see behind me. So I
right.
am like you. I mean, to get on an Instagram Live is a real feat. So I am happy to be here, and thank you for having me.
You remind me when I was CEO of the world's first smartphone in 1999. I traveled around the world to show this, what they called convergence device. And it converged telephones and a Windows operating system, a PC. So it was called the PCE phone in 1999. But I was a lawyer, right? I had a sales
Yeah.
background, and I'm CEO of the company. And so like these hyper technical engineers would come up to me and talk about CGTI testing and the wavelength of a dual mode chip and blah, blah, blah. And I look there and I'd give this typical, Bradley, what do you think about that? Bradley was
Right.
the young sales engineer, that understood what you were talking about. You see,
Right. It's
I was
funny
thinking, look at all that technology, and she doesn't know
and she
technology.
doesn't know. But I think that when you're, as you get older, and I think as you become, who you are and confident in who you are, I don't know, is such a great, my first boss, I worked for the Miami Heat, and my first boss, Pat Riley, taught me something that I've always remembered. And he writes iterations of this, but it was something like, he would, if somebody asked him a question in a news conference that he didn't want to answer, he just answered whatever he wanted. And because he sounded always so eloquent and smart, you almost forgot what the question was. And he always said to me, if you're not good at something, you surround yourself with the best in that field. Like, you are not threatened. If you don't know something, then you surround yourself with that best person. And I always have taken that with me and have never been threatened. So like, technology, I know enough, nothing. There's other things too. We could probably all name so many things. I wish I could see the comments. How do I get the question? There's a
I,
question up. Is there a way to
Yeah.
take it down?
Yeah, I hit the X on there. So, that question is still up. Let me see if I can take it down for you. I don't have it up
Okay,
anymore.
speaking of. So anyway, so that's like it's funny when you meet somebody who you think is like knows something about something, like a doctor or anybody, and then you start asking questions. I always appreciate when someone says, I don't know, because
Yeah,
it's just like an honest.
I gain so much respect for people that say I don't know, because it's an instant indicator of credibility to me. Because I totally, go down the rabbit hole, the black hole of, as the lawyer in me, the skepticism of when someone's overselling, back end selling, manipulating, lying, or cheating, or moving around my issue. I will tell you, I did learn one other way too, is if someone asks you a question you don't want to answer, it's always great to say, that is a great question, but before I answer it, let me tell you about this.
Right, and
And
go
like,
off at a different.
and they never come back to it. It's like literally, it's one of the best things as well, to be honest. But I
Yeah,
don't know is the best answer to anyone. And I like to add too, I don't know, but I can find out. Because then it
that's
empowers you that, hey, I'm
you're
surrounded. I'm
resourceful.
1 degree of separation from people like Jill Martin. She's going to tell me exactly what I need to know, because she's been in this space and she's an expert for forever. Well, what you are an expert at, I think, is amazing, because it's kind of the philosophy of the easiest ways to make money in the world, which is buy low and sell high, stealing the deal, getting, into the ability of just, this is a value, a perceived value, and a real value, and how do we interplay within the context of value in order to create a margin? And and that probably is a different way than anyone's explained what I see you're an expert at, and just a brilliant mind at. But marketing, that's incredible.
No, I really appreciate that. And actually it's not, because when I started, QVC is where this really all started for me. I had pitched them probably 8 times, in those little rooms. I don't know if you've ever been to QVC, but I
Yeah.
had like all these wild ideas and they said no every time. And then the eighth time they took it. And it was, that's another story of perseverance for a whole nother time, but that I was proud of myself about. But QVC is all about that. I mean, that viewer really has taught me that, as much as you love me or not like me or whatever your feelings are, it starts with the product, and a good product. So forget what the price of it is. And then it starts with the value. So what is the value? Not the perceived value. What's the value of this? Like, how can I make these better and for less? Is it sourcing? Is it making more of that in the same fabric? So I really do appreciate that in terms of, for me, I would not put anything on the air for Steals and Deals or in my personal line that I wouldn't wear, gift, or sell. So that's my criteria. So yeah, I mean, I think value over the actual price is more important. So I appreciate that assessment of what I do.
And there's two also extreme capabilities that you have that I admire and I work on as well. And I think it's a rarity that people understand it. Is one is to identify the value. So a lot of people, there's inherent value, quantitative, not just subjective, the emotional attachment you're great at. You're a wonderful, charismatic person, but there's tons of charismatic, wonderful people. But where you separate yourself from everyone else is that, number one, you can discover the inherent value in what you believe in. Like you said, you really believe in what you're selling, and that energy comes across more than the words that you're saying. But one of the areas that I see you're exceptional at, that most people don't practice or even realize, is articulating quantitative value. So I see so many people with wonderful products. They haven't found the inherent value in it. They're talking about the wrong things. They're talking about features and benefits,
Right.
not reasons, impacts, and capabilities. They're not talking and connecting emotionally. And worst, and most importantly, they cannot, even though they know the value of it, and they would die for their product. See, some people, I always say, they go to the far extremes. Don't ever fall in love with your product. So that's too extreme for me. I disagree with people that are in love with their product, but you better be able to articulate the quantitative value of it. And you do such an exceptional job, which is obviously why you're distributed everywhere, and you have your own personal stuff, and of course all the NBC, QVC things that you've been successful at. How important it is, or what techniques do you use in order to get that articulation point down that most people can't do?
Oh wow. I mean, everything I do is I think it was Mark Twain who said, if you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. So it's not like I don't prep for I prep in terms of, there's a whole like factory behind me basically in my house. I've been relegated to the basement
I think
since
that's
March
just a green
13th.
screen. Now, you don't know technology.
Wait,
Don't fret.
you have to take this question off so I could really show your viewers what's
I
going
can see
on
it.
here.
So the question's only on your screen. Everybody else can see
Oh,
fine.
really?
Yeah.
How do I get it
I can
off?
see the computers in the hangings. I
Oh,
can see
okay.
that blue screen behind you, and I
Okay,
see everything.
okay. So yeah. So behind me
I
in the
see your Dave
backpack.
Meltzer. I love Dave Meltzer banner back there. I see.
Yeah, so it's like a mad factory here because I don't know, like many people watching. I don't know how many people are working from home. Looks like you are too, but so it's been a real pivot, working like I'm setting up for a Steals and Deals that I have coming soon, and this is all self-operated, so I have had to learn. But I do think it is, and I even forgot the initial question going back to Pat Riley.
articulating the value.
Yeah, but I do think it's really important for you to believe in the item because that Mark Twain quote, like after I know what the item is and I know it works and I've used it, then there's no articulating it is so easy. It would be like asking someone to talk about their favorite relative or why they love their blanket. So I could speak for hours. This special that we have coming up, which I'm really excited about, is the first. I describe it as your favorite talk show and your favorite gift guide had a baby. And it's 2 hours from my house. My family are co-hosts, and my family are like straight out of Central Casting. They're such good sports. They each co-hosted a segment with me, and I gave them each something that I knew they'd be interested in. So my brother's gadgets, my dad did comfy things to wear because my father only wears jeans and sweatshirts. And he's an attorney too, like you are, but he prefers to be casual, like most men. I would say most men. I know a lot of men who like to get dressed up, but I would say most women and men right now like to be cozy. So this 2 hour special we did, this holiday is really going to be difficult for so many people in so many different ways. And, so we wanted to do things differently to sort of encapsulate that. So there was a gym in my house because we couldn't have people in the house. Putting on a huge production during COVID was quite the challenge, but we had an incredible team and I did over 50 gifts up to 84% off and 70% are from small businesses. So it was really important to me for this holiday season. That could be a game changer for these small businesses trying to stay afloat. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity and the platform. And it's so interesting learning. I love learning about new platforms. And so, when Peacock launched our streaming channel, and then we're producing Today All Day through Peacock, and, you're learning about streaming and apps. It's like our generation, and I'll loop us in together, we're sort of like on the cusp of, my mom still has a flip phone, but like we have smartphones, but getting something screen mirrored, I had to learn. Like I screen mirror my graphics. That's something I'm proud of myself, for all that. So I think that, in this whole, your question was about talking points and authenticity, but I think it all wraps together with a neat bow as we're talking about it, that everything really in the climate that we're living in right now really has to be authentic, what you're about and what you believe in, and emotes kindness, because right now that's like all, what could we do right now aside from try to help, try to bring some like holiday cheer into people's homes for a year that's, this year is, as everybody has been impacted, is upside down.
You've amplified my favorite part of Oprah's show ever, right? And you get a car, and you get a car, and you get a car.
And you get a car, right. Well, it's so funny because the punctuation to the special is that, through my work with the Knicks, I work with Garden of Dreams Foundation, and I said, there's this one family who I just love the whole family, and the kids face unimaginable obstacles, and the mother loves Steals and Deals. So I said, let's safely, I always do catch-ups with them, so let's go to the house, and then I had Tracy Morgan, who's part of our foundation, make a video saying, Jill wouldn't come empty-handed. And when they come to the front, there's all the Steals and Deals from the special, and I'm in a human snow globe. So like, I felt like Oprah. I felt like, and now you get everything in these 2 hours.
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. So
I can't wait to see it.
it was really impactful and really important. And so, yeah, I'm excited. But, listen, we're all going to make the best of it. I read a quote the other day that said, let's put the turkey in the oven, light the tree, open the presents and call it a year. It's like everybody's sort of like, let's like move forward here.
Yeah, always moving forward. So where can everyone find you? Is at Jill Martin, but where can they find the new show? I know it'll be streaming on Peacock.
So
it'll also be on NBC, the Today Show, portions of it or all of it.
Yeah. So I'll launch it on the Today Show Monday morning at 8:56, and then at 9 on the Peacock app, which you could download. I just went through this with my mother.
I have it. That's where I watched. I think Yellowstone.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because my childhood friend created that show, who I grew up with, and we were on the phone, and he was saying how like it's doing so well on Peacock, and I said, let me just win for one day. So November 23rd at 9 a.m. 9 to 11, 2 hours. So I hope that you'll tune in at least for part of it. And
I will.
If not to purchase anything, just to bring some love and light into your home.
I got 3 daughters and a wife that love you, so we're buyers, and we want to support small businesses is my game. That's why I wanted you on, and I love, just to finish up, how you encapsulate charity and TV and media and business and buying and selling and teaching all into one. So if you haven't checked out Jill Martin, this is the Renaissance woman that I'm looking to my kids to be. So thank you for everything you do.
I have the chills. That's the nicest thing that you could say to me, honestly, is that I hope to be, bring some light. So thank you.
You did. Thank you.
Okay. Nice to meet everybody. Bye.
Bye, Jill. Nice to meet you. All right. We are back to back, doing well this morning. I have another extraordinary woman, another extraordinary entrepreneur. If you didn't like Jill Martin, then I don't know what you're going to like. Holy crap. How awesome is she? There's so many lessons there and nuggets. I'm going to actually have to go back. I don't know. The articulation, the authenticity, the way she aggregates all these things together in value and to help people with a charitable purpose or cause. That's what my other friend here, Emily Frisella, at Emily Frisella, is coming on next. And she's just extraordinary. I met her. Andy's a friend of mine as well. If you haven't checked out Andy Frisella, the Real AF, you got to, because he is an extraordinary thought leader, energetic entrepreneur, and behind or next to or in front of every great entrepreneur. And I think Andy would tell you, in front of is Emily. And she has so much great energy and knowledge. And is Emily here, Jake? I'm looking. Maybe I missed it. Yeah, she's right here. Cool. All right. We are adding in Emily Frisella. She is the COO at 44/7 Media, and just an extraordinary.
Good morning.
This is my lucky. How, like, 2 amazing women in a row.
No, and I was laughing when Jill's talking, because she's like, and be kind. And I was like, I have a be kind shirt on. I mean, like, this was not even staged. It's so perfect.
That is. Well, my favorite saying in the world is be kind to your future self. Do
Absolutely.
Good deeds. So,
yeah, but you know what? What's something you said, though, that was good, too, is that you said, I don't know. Like, you can respect people that say that, because to me, everybody thinks, like, the 3 magic words are I love you, but I don't know is, like, the 3 words to, like, growth and getting better. And you can do a lot of things in life by saying, I don't know. So, yeah, don't ever downplay that. Except
for if someone asks you and says to you, I love you, or do you love me, then don't answer, I don't know.
Yeah,
although I think that's kind of what you answered Andy when you met him, trying to collect money from him, and he kept hitting on you when you're collecting. I thought maybe I'd just start with my favorite story about you two. If you haven't checked out Andy and Emily, it's at Emily Frisella, Real AF. Andy's extraordinary entrepreneur with Emily. But I always said, when I met you two, I was like, almost like, of course, Andy's been on my podcast. And immediately when I met you, I go, oh, I got the wrong guest last time. I didn't know Emily was here. The way she tells stories, forget Andy and me. You can carry the show. You got to tell people, if it's okay, if you're comfortable, the story about how you met Andy Frisella, because this is one of the best love stories ever.
So it was back in 2006, and he had 2 stores at the time, and supplement stores, and was coming back to St. Louis, and he needed some graphics done, and I worked at a graphic design firm, and basically he needed some signage for this new business, and I was the bill collector, and he couldn't pay his bills. He was $60,000 in credit card debt, and had no money to pay for the product that we delivered. So I was having to call on him every week and say like, hey dude, you got to pay this. And I'm like, I'll work out terms with you. I need this, I need that, you know? And then he would dodge my call, send me to voicemail, whatever. And then finally I got a hold of him, and, you know, and he was like, okay, yeah, you know, I'll work it out. I'll check with the accountant. He was giving me all these bullshit lines to like push me off. And then he finally came in. He was like, oh, well, you know, if you're just like calling to flirt with me, that's fine. I'm like, no, like you need to pay your damn bill. And so we were friends for about 3 years, and then started dating in 2009, and we just still like laugh about that story because people look, they're like, oh, how'd you guys meet? Like you did. You were like bill collector. Like it's just so random.
I know. I threw egg at my wife in the 4th grade. That's how I met her.
I know that story was
right.
Hilarious.
Same kind of thing. Well, you know what's interesting though? Like when you're looking at a guy, right? He's, you know, an entrepreneur with this startup. Even when you fell in love with him after being friends, it wasn't like he's the Andy Frisella of today, you know, with 188,000 square foot, you know, worldwide business. And so you have this history of going like, this guy's a deadbeat when it comes to paying his bills. And you're like this Renaissance woman. You're smart. You're gorgeous. You're fun. You're caring. You check all these boxes. There's like a million guys lining up for Emily, and she chooses the guy that she can't collect $60 from. I'm just sitting here going, what did you see in Andy that nobody else saw?
Oh,
or I should say nobody else. A lot of people saw it, but what did you see in Andy?
You know what though? It's the potential. I could tell his drive was there, and like, you know, entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. Everybody thinks it's this glamorous thing. Like they see the post-entrepreneur things on Instagram, like, oh man, you're flashing all this cash. Like that is not it. Most of the time you're in the fetal position in the corner crying, like, what the hell did I do? Like, why am I in this, you know, career? But no, for him, you know, it was really just, he was fucking hilarious. Like, sorry, I didn't.
That's all right.
He was just so funny, and we just got along good, and we saw like eye to eye. Like he grew up in an entrepreneurship family. I did as well. My dad was an entrepreneur all my life. So like we both really jived on that and got each other. And it just, I mean, plus being friends for 3 years, we really got to know each other more so than, you know, like just, it's not like a first date deal, but it just, he was funny. He had big visions and goals. And like, I told you the story, like he told me 12 years ago, like, oh, our new HQ is going to go right there. Here it is, June, 12 years later, that HQ building was built right where he said it was. Like, there's just that, he was just different. You know what I mean? Like, I just tell, like, he said something, but he was going to do what he said.
And you have participated the whole way to build. I mean, I get to go to so many campuses and HQs and fly around the world, not just in America. And that is one of the most beautiful, well thought out headquarters I've ever seen. And showing vision and intuition. And I say vision and intuition because there is an intuition that you and Andy have that it was almost as if you didn't know, but you were prepared for anything that could happen in change wise, because there's so many things that you guys had already almost built that are so applicable. You know, it's like the vision of Zoom, you know, hey, this will be good someday if we get locked in our closets and have to do reels all the time. So,
yeah, that's just wild. But yeah, the Zoom rooms, you were just like, well, did you guys Zoom before COVID? We're like, yeah, we did. And that's why we have these private rooms for it and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I take zero credit for HQ. I had nothing to do with that. It's all Andy and Sal and their business and Klein. So yeah, they did such a like ridiculously great job on HQ. It's still to this day I walk in, I'm like, damn, this place is cool.
Yeah, well, the people are cool, which is the energy is cool. The minute I walked in, you know, and you don't get to see the whole thing when you walk in, obviously,
right.
But the energy of everyone, and that's the biggest compliment that I want people when they come to my studio or my office, is I love when someone gets up to my office and they sit down and like, hey, I just got to tell you, I love the energy in this place.
Yeah.
Then I know I'm doing things right, and you guys are absolutely doing things right in that respect as well. Now, how did you decide, you know, as you grew, because you have First Form and 24/7 Media, and you have Sal, and you have, you know, family and friends operation that has grown to an extraordinary business. But, you know, as a wife and a spouse and a partner in the business, how do you decide what you want to do? Because there's so many different things. I'm having this problem with my girls want to come work for me. They're 21 and 19, and they're having trouble deciding what they want to do. How'd you decide what you wanted to do within the business?
Actually, it's kind of funny. It was almost I stumbled upon it in a sense. So, you know, I have my own businesses and I run those. But then one day Andy and I were having dinner and I was like just airing frustrations, like, oh, well, you know, you should be doing this and then we should do this. And like, I was like so excited over this lunch that we were having or dinner. I can't remember where it was. I remember the restaurant, but I can't remember what meal. And I was just like, why don't you just both? And Andy just looks at me and goes, why don't you just come and run my shit? I go, I will. Like, are you okay with that? He's like, yeah, will you still be able to do all your stuff while you do this and just build a team around you for my brand? And I said, yeah. So then the next Monday we went in and he announced that I was COO of the media company, and it just kind of took off from there. And that was about 3.5 years ago. So I kind of just like, I walked myself into the door by making suggestions of things I could see change because, you know, as a female, I'm psychotically detail oriented and OCD. Like, I'm sure it would drive people like crazy because I'm like organized freak and junkie. So it's just, you know, getting systems in place and strategies and things like that. That's just like, I can be okay, you do this, you do that, you do that. And it just works. Like, we have literally such a wonderful working relationship because we're very good at turning it off and turning it on. You know what I mean? Like, nothing ever overlaps. And I think it's just because we're both like, we both know that mindset. And you're like, when you're an entrepreneur, there's no balance. It's like a bend and a bleed all the time. So we've just really always accepted that, but we know how to read each other in the business world and read each other in the personal world.
Yeah, you guys are incredible. Last question real quick, because you talked about, you know, compartmentalizing, because you have so many family, old friends, the business has grown over 12 years. And so you inevitably, when you have the personalities and the caring and the kindness that all of you have, you know, you have to be able to compartmentalize, because if your main intent, like yours and Andy's are, is to be kind and to nurture people. And I caught on right away, especially talking with Sal, of how much of a focus it is on development. You know, Sal was telling me about why he can teach people the way he does because he experienced it, and all of these unbelievable things, that it's truly, you know, integrity. They've experienced it, and that's for everyone. But the negative of that, and because I'm the same way, I fall in love with my employees. Like, not, you know, it's probably, I'm 52. I don't fall in love that way, but like,
I get what, they become family to you.
President who I'm in love with because she's like my daughter. You know what I mean? Like, I adore her, but it's like, have you ever, you know, my teenage daughters, if I try to discipline them, I'm like crying inside if I'm giving them constructive criticism, and now I have to do it all day long. Last question, how do you compartmentalize so many different important relationships and the true feelings that you have inside with business?
Yeah. You know, I think it's something that you just need to realize that, you know, what you're doing, you should always come from a place of you're trying to help them and to better them. And sometimes that's having a tough conversation. And sometimes that's giving them a pat on the back. So it's always asking yourself, am I going into this with the intention of helping them? And if you're not helping them and you're just there to tear them down, that doesn't help anyone. You can give them constructive criticism, but constructive criticism is a growth step. You're putting out another stepping stone for them to get better, instead of just, you know, being the boss that's shaking the finger and saying you did wrong and not helping them. There has to be that, you know, you burn the cake, you can still ice it and make it a little bit better. So you got to be the icing on the burnt cake.
I'm going to use that, the icing on the burnt cake. It is funny because I've used like caveats too. Like, I'll check in with younger employees who I adore. I have a very young, you met Jake, our PR guy.
Oh, he's so great. Yeah. You know, I just have to say, when you guys came to HQ, you and your team were just so overly gracious and kind. It was just so nice, and just, it was wonderful. So kudos to you and everybody on your team.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. And so I use those caveats to Jake all the time. Like, hey man, you sure you want me to push you? And then I can almost see in his face, like, am I supposed to say yes or no? And then he said yes. And then I drill him really hard. I'm like, okay, it's okay to push you. Okay, here's what you're doing wrong.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, you know, you're there to present the door, to show them the door, to open the door, but you can't be the one to push them through. You got to show them, like, okay, right foot, left foot. That's how you get through.
Yeah, well, you guys are getting through it. Please send my love to Andy, Sal, the rest of the team.
Thank you.
We can't wait to come back to St. Louis.
Yes,
one of the best companies in the world that I've been to. So you got to check out First Forum, and of course 44/7 Media with Emily Frisella at Emily Frisella. Anything else we can send people to that they should go and know about? We're good.
Keep
All right,
one
come
stop
back
shop.
on to other shows with me. You're my star guest, so thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. See ya.
Awesome. See you, Emily. Take care.
You too.
Wow. Jill, Emily, unbelievable day. All right. We are winding down, winding up. Friday's training is on procrastination. I can save you millions of dollars, time, resources, money, and relationships by understanding procrastination, what causes it, how to get over it, what to do with it, how to turn it into productive, accessible, and gracious behavior. Wow, I'm blown away. Perfect. Jake, the official Jake had, I don't see him in here, Jakey Bakes. I'm looking. So, please, my friend, Jahed, where are you? There he is. He just got his request in. All right. We're just going back to back with unbelievable people today. Spend a few moments right here with my friend.
Hey, how are
Hey,
you?
how are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. Have you been enjoying the show at all?
I have so far. I couldn't believe it. I was loving watching Emily Frisella. I'm a huge fan of First Form. I've listened to the MFCEO podcast. I've listened to that 30,000 times.
Yeah,
So
no.
that was
I mean,
great to watch.
now he's renamed it the Real AF, which I
Yeah,
think's
and it's
awesome, right?
awesome. I love all of it.
Yeah, it's such great insight, and you know, a lot of the things and energy that we get, it's amazing. Well, you're an actor, motivational speaker. You know, what has it been like for you trying to help people, you know, follow their dreams? Because you're someone that at a young age, you know, have already achieved so much within the context of a very, what I call crowded space. People, you know, entrepreneur, motivational speaker, actor. If you told people that's what I do in the old days, they say, "Oh, so you're unemployed?"
Right. Yeah, it's a little different now. You know, now we can do so much with the technology we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not as a shot to the ego as much.
Well, but it still takes, you know, and I think this is the thing that you do so well, but it takes a certain amount of discipline, strategy, and character.
Absolutely.
What are some of those traits that you feel have helped you? And then it's just amplified with the technology.
Well, it was just it was the want for people, you know, because my thing is I feel like everybody in the world, if they're going through hard times or a breakup, you know, whatever it might be, everybody feels like they're the first person to ever go through this. Nobody else in the world knows what it's like to go through a breakup. Nobody except me, right? Nobody knows what that's like. Nobody knows what it's like to get fired. You know, nobody's ever gotten fired except me. You know what I mean? So everybody thinks like that. And my thing is I want people to know that no matter what it is, I guarantee you, no matter how bad, you're not first. And you're not going to be last either. And the amount of times I stress that to people, because I have people that DM me all the time saying, man, my girlfriend just left me. I just lost my job. I just don't know what to do next. And I'm like, dude, pick it up. You know, go real quick, go grab you some amazing food. That, first of all, will put you in a great mood anytime you're having, you know what I mean? So go do that. And then tell me how you feel after that. And then the amount of times they're like, dude, I feel great. Like, I feel like I could go do anything right now. I'm like, exactly. Like, exactly. Go do, there you go. It's not, you know what I mean? You just got to break it down and say, okay, what's the first thing I can do to get through this? What's the first, right now, what can I do? And so that's my message, is trying to teach people and show people that. And
Yeah,
so,
and I do food and good deeds.
Exactly.
I say,
Yeah. Like,
right. You go
really
do
good,
something for someone else
others,
and
yeah.
eat well. You're right. Now, I purposely didn't say that you were in the blind side. And I'm friends with your boy as well, Quentin. Quinn's been a friend for a long time, and Quentin was, you know, of course, played our famous offensive tackle. But I purposely didn't say, because I wanted to see what the comments were, and then, you know, it caught on that, you know, you were in the blind side, and obviously you were SJ, the son.
Yeah.
Did a great job.
Thank you.
What I wanted to talk about is really what I see as the lesson that you portray to me, and it's the Ron Howard lesson that I learned when I was young. Is that, and also Henry Winkler had to deal with this. You know, Yale guy, extremely intelligent, super talented like you, but people take snapshots, and it's not just if you're an actor. It's not just if you're an entrepreneur, a speaker, but as a son,
right?
Right?
Yeah.
People, and I think it's important for you to share kind of how you deal with the snapshot that, you know, like Henry Winkler was the Fonz, and he couldn't get other roles because everyone just took a snapshot of the Fonz. You know, you're lit. You know, and Ron Howard, obviously from Opie, and then
from Andy Griffith.
You know, and so here you are. So, you know, obviously there's benefits of the snapshot when you're successful, but there's also the negative side that's a snapshot as well.
Right.
And so I was hoping you could help people with, how do we deal with, illuminating the snapshot, dealing with the snapshot, leveraging the snapshot to our benefit, because you certainly are accelerating your career and have not slowed down since The Blind Side. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Well, it is hard. And and I have other actor friends that they had a role as a kid, and they hate that that's who they know, that people know them as. And I've definitely had times where I don't want to be SJ. I want to be J Head. I want, you know what I mean? But you have to understand it is a blessing and it is a curse at the same time. You know what I mean? Because you can complain about it, but do you realize what you're complaining about? You know what I mean? You're complaining about being technically a movie, and you're complaining about it. You know what I mean? So I don't necessarily think it's something I personally, for me personally, I don't want to eliminate it necessarily, but I would like for people to, I would like to do more work, and then people go, oh dang, I remember he was good as a kid, but as an adult, that guy's the real deal. We don't want to mess with that guy. You know what I mean? And so, and that can be done. And now, granted, it might be hard because you got Robert Pattinson's now playing Batman. And when they first announced that, I was like, I'm not watching a vampire play Batman. It's not happening. I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? But now I'm started looking at the footage, and I'm like, he's kind of scary. He's a good Bruce Wayne. You know what I mean? So it is hard because it is such a mold, and people love things that they're used to. So you really got to be forceful and break that mold and say, look, I'm not just so-and-so. I'm me, and this is all I can do. This is all these things I can do. And it is tough, and especially in the business, because people are like, yeah, but that works for you. You should stay with that. And I've been told that before, and it is hard. And there's a lot of times you're like, oh, okay, I guess that's who I am then. But you just have to pick it up and just be like, no. Here's this other stuff I can do. Let me just show you.
Yeah,
right.
No, and I it's the biggest challenge in my life because I was a much bigger asshole than you were when I was young. So I have a whole bunch of people that have the asshole snapshot or the overseller, back end seller, snapshot, and I, want to live my life closer to integrity and teach people about living to your potential and all of those things. Speaking of surrounding yourself with the right people, I mean, that movie, I come from the sports world, obviously running Lee Steinberg and Sports One. I watch I've been involved with a lot of movies with a lot of unbelievable talent. But man, that movie was loaded, and it was with sports talent as well. For you as a little kid, what was it like to be around not only those incredible actors, but, you're talking about the greatest coaches in history that you were babied with. And I'm sure you built a relationship. What was that like?
Oh, it was, my dad actually is a high school football coach.
Oh, really?
And my mom was a cheerleader growing up. That was me. I didn't act in that movie. That was me, right? And so we were filming that in the middle of
where did your parents go to college?
My dad went to Baylor, and my mother went to Texas A&M.
So you got the Southern schools too.
So
okay,
I'm
you knew the game.
Born and raised, yeah.
You're RG3 fan then?
Oh yeah, I love RG3. I'll follow him. He can go anywhere. I'll follow
Me
him.
Too. Me too. Andy's a great guy. He's super fast, quick. He's a great guy.
He is. Yeah, I loved him when he was in Cleveland. I don't think anybody loved him then, but I loved him then.
Yeah.
But I loved meeting with those coaches was insane because my dad came out and saw that week, and it was we were in the coolest room ever. You had Nick Saban on one end. You know what I mean? You had Lou Holtz over here. It was Nick Saban is the nicest guy ever, and then you see him on the sidelines. You're like, that's not the same dude. There's no way. That's not even the same guy.
No, you saw the recruiting Nick Saban.
Yeah, I saw the recruiting Nick Saban. I see why they get those recruits, man. That's the nicest guy. He left me a little care package with a signed football and everything. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, Urban Meyer the same way. Lou Holtz.
I believe it.
Right? Those guys are amazing. Yeah, just blessed. Well, getting to that, because we gotta do more together, my friend. So where can people find you? What are you working on now that we can promote for you?
Right now, we're still, I'm doing my Motivation Mondays. You can find me here on Instagram. I do them every Monday.
At J-Head, J-A-E Head.
Yes, sir. Right here on Instagram.
That's awesome. And I love him, man. I'm a Monday guy myself. So I screwed up yesterday real quick, and I'll let you go. Yesterday, it was Tuesday. I got on. I'm like, hey, welcome to Wednesday. Somebody is like, oh, shit, ran off of IG Live, took out his trash, came back on, and then I realized it was Tuesday. And he's like, oh, shit.
The whole world was about to just completely shift.
Exactly. That's what the COVID calendar. Anyway, Jay, I can't wait to meet you in person, man. Come back onto my different shows.
Absolutely.
Everybody has to check out the Monday show at Jay Head. You're an incredible actor, motivational speaker, and inspirational person for everyone to build your own dreams and achieve what you can. Thank you so much, my
Thank you
friend.
so much, David. Have a good
You got
day.
it. Take care. Congrats.
Bye.
All right, everyone. We are loaded. I got to get jumping. So we are going to take one quick question. And how many hours do I sleep a daily? I have a wind down routine. My tomorrow starts today, 9 p.m. I do a wind down routine and I sleep between 5 and 7 hours every day, consistently clearing the connection between me and the greatest source of light, love, and lessons. So allowing that information to, in the morning, allow me to plateau and grow. I'm not pushing a boulder to the top of the hill, just have it roll down. Everybody join me Friday. Free training is on procrastination. If you miss trainings, I will send you my exercises, my guides, my books for free. I will send you the book, sign it, pay for shipping. David@dmeltzer.com. I got private groups you can join. I have pre-training. I have one-on-ones. Whatever you need, just email me, David@dmeltzer.com. I have a text community, 949-298-2905. Most importantly, everybody, be kind to your future self. Do good deeds, just like my three extraordinary guests, Jill Martin, Emily Frisella, and Jay Head. Thank you, all three of you. Be kind to your